Hi everyone, I'm Neeraj. I'm a co-founder at CoinDCX.
Welcome to the podcast. I can see on your LinkedIn you're an IT Mumbai product, and so what did you do after IT Mumbai?
So I did my electrical engineering in IIT Bombay PTech and passed out in 2012. You know, it's a different story how I reached there, but I did not sit for IIT placements actually. Instead, I went for UPSC civil services preparation. So that was uh, what I did, and then failed miserably, of course, in those two attempts that I gave.
What made you sacrifice a good job opportunity? Because obviously placement would have been good from IIT, and then spend 2 years not earning anything. घर से भी सुनना पड़ता होगा कि क्यों नहीं क्लियर हुआ whatever. मतलब it must have been like a kind of a slightly tough time.
Oh yeah, it was very tough time, and I won't recommend anyone uh, teaching IIT placements and then going for UPSC civil service. I don't think that's the best idea. If you want to, then maybe later, after working for a couple of years and then going for it is a better idea. A lot of people actually go directly, and see, most of the times it's typically inspired by during your childhood you see uh, that IAS and collector, district collector, DM, as something, as some aspirational thing, especially in North India it's much more prevalent. And then the typical path for that is to just do the college and go to Delhi, old Rajendra Nagar and Karol Bagh for preparation. And yeah, so both had. I think it was set in my brain, in my mind since very early days of maybe eighth class, ninth class, 10th class. I used to hear all the time that this is very good and this is one of the. I mean, there is one path where you become a IAS and you go corruption way, right? But on the other end, there is also the aspirational thing where you become an IAS and you do good for the country. And I was on that path. I wanted to do good for the country some way, in one way or another.
Why do
Yeah,
IIT at all? मतलब इसके लिए आप कोई भी ग्रेजुएशन कर सकते थे like what was the
या नहीं, ऐसा नहीं
उसकी
था कि
अलग
उसका
फाइट रही होगी आईआईटी की.
हाँ, नाइन्थ नाइन्थ टेंथ क्लास में ऐसा नहीं था कि आईएएस ही करना है, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं था। वो बाद में फाइनल हुआ, बट इट्स जस्ट दैट कि ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम इट वाज सीडेड, यू नो या एंड आईआईटी क्यों करना है उसका तो अलग ही आंसर है। आई कैन गो डीपर इनटू दैट, बट या
Okay. So after so you did two attempts. मतलब 2 years you invested in this, and then you decided कि नहीं ये नहीं हो रहा. So then what?
या जब सेकंड रिजल्ट आया तो रिजल्ट आते ही आई रैन अवे फ्रॉम दिल्ली, एंड देन आई केम होम एंड 3 years देर वॉज अ गैप ऑफ 3 years। अब कॉलेज कर लिया है, 3 साल हो गया है, एंड यू हैव नेवर डन ए जॉब। नाउ दैट इज व्हेन आई रियलाइज वन थिंग, that whether you are from IIT or whether you are from any college, if you have a gap of 3 years, nobody is going to give you any job, just like that, because when you say that I prepared for UPSC for 3 years, that does not count in the resume. I mean, that does not make up a good resume. You know, so when you create your resume, everybody questioned that you passed out in 2012. This is 2015. For 3 years, you failed in UPSC. It's not that you have something to show for your efforts, right? I actually applied various places. I applied for 50 different jobs at least. I applied everywhere. I applied in Bombay. I applied in Jaipur. I applied in small startups, in big companies, everywhere, and of like no luck, just no luck. I didn't get placed anywhere because I didn't know how to interview well. I didn't know how to solve those puzzles and questions. I realized. Then I spent a few months at home, and books. I read some books. Uh, I read a lot of books actually, and I realized that I think what I am good at, how I can contribute to the country, and to, like, how can I build myself from here, is if I do what I like. I just started thinking that what do I like the most? What do I have natural and keen interest? Something which I can do, and I don't even feel like sleep. Even if I'm feeling sleepy, I would continue doing it. Somebody would have to come and stop me from doing it. What is that? What is that inner thing that I like so much, and I've been doing since childhood without anyone forcing me? What are those? What is that kind of a thing? So I searched for that. You know and I got it. I also got that from
What
my
is that?
childhood. I was this computer person. So I got my computer when I was in when I was very little, and 2004 or so, 4 5 some in that year. And I used to be a champ of the computer. I used to, like, format it, unformat it, and go deeper into its file system and file structure. Open the CPU up and see what are there. Okay, its cooling fan is out of order, so get it repaired. And then its power supply is
Wow.
not working, or its power supply we need to, or upgrade its CD player, and instead of just reading the CD, just get a CD writer as well. And all of that. And I was a champ of all of that. And I remember that if some of other computers got out of order, I used to be the person they reached out. Okay, this guy will figure it out. So uh, then, and an avid gamer. I was a pro gamer, computer gamer. And uh, that's my childhood. That's my entire childhood. This is what I used to do. I used to play. I used to love speakers, like just speaker technology. I used to love, right? I used to
Wow.
build my own speakers. So I realized that with this size of speaker, you need this kind of a box. And then I got a wooden box made from a carpenter, and then fit those speakers, and then repair and all of these. I used to. These were No one told me to do these things. In my childhood, no one. My mother, my father, my parents, my brother, they didn't even realize that. Okay, it was all normal. But no one told me to do these things. uh, and after failing at UPSC, I realized that I think that's what I like. That is what I would love to do. For my entire life, that's something I can do. And by that, I mean uh, that technology, engineering and technology is what I like. I got like 69% in my 10th class, you know, but I got 143 rank in IIT JEE. So the
Okay.
reason for that is also there's a huge gap. I mean, no one in CBSE board getting 69% in 10th class and then 143, very very good rank. In IIT
Yes.
JEE. The reason is also, because when I studied for IIT JEE, all those physics, PCM, physics, chemistry, and math, it was natural to me. It was very natural to me. No one forced me to study. I just simply liked that, and I studied for 16 hours, 15 hours. And from a backbencher in 10th class, I just did well in IIT JEE also. So connecting these dots, I realized that I should go for technology, engineering things, and that is my calling. That is what I should do. You know so yeah,
And
with that motivation and with that clarity, mental clarity, I went into the job market and then applied for engineering jobs, where I again failed miserably. And I to, I applied at a lot of places, right? And no one just took me in because I was out of touch. I mean, I didn't know how to code. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to give an interview. So, uh, and so what I did then, I just left Jaipur. I just left home and I came to Mumbai. just without any job and without anything in my hand. But I just came to Mumbai. And my friends were doing some startups and they were doing jobs. I thought I'd live with them here and there and figure something out. I mean, that's what I will have to do. I cannot. Maybe I'm in Jaipur and I don't have that exposure. So I went to Mumbai, and this my friend Abhinav. I stayed with him in his room. He gave me place to stay. Right. Of course, I didn't have place to stay. I didn't have any earning as such, and yeah, I took some money from my father, no doubt about it. But it was not much. It was just enough to, I could. It was not a good idea for me to spend it on room rent. So so I stayed with my friend, and uh, yeah, under his guidance also learned. And then he was running this company dormant. He also received some funding, right? And I begged him that, bro, I will appear for interviews, and I don't need your intervention as such. So but let me uh, at least give a chance to interview in your company, right? Yeah, and then I interviewed, but no, but in technology I failed again, there as well. And I luckily got this uh, in a chance to work in dormant as an operations manager, actually, as operations manager. And dormant was doing dormant was having a laundry business, back then, a laundry business. And uh, I got a job as operations manager, and I went to Gurgaon for establishing companies laundry business there. I hired delivery boys, I hired area managers, set up that office, set up the supply chain of picking up delivery, and then picking up laundry, dirty laundry of people, and then giving it to the hub, and then getting it washed, dry cleaned, and then returning it back to the customer. All that supply chain is what I did during the day, right? And during the night I studied engineering. During the night I studied technology, and I studied coding. I studied software development. And within dormant I got placed in the engineering. Then eventually after 6 months, uh, I got placed in engineering in dormant. And that was life changing for me. I mean, I think that is where my career started. you know that's how my career started, actually. And it's not long ago. That's all 2015, and towards the end.
I can see you were vice president engineering, so which means that you must have got promoted there also.
In dormant, at
Yeah.
dormant. Oh yes, yes, yes. So like I mentioned, when you do something which you inherently like no one has to force you to do that. You never say no for that. You never say, if you have free time, you'll automatically do it, without anyone telling you to do it. That's what technology was for me. And I just learned software engineering so fast. Within 1 year, I was uh, I mean, I was lucky as well to be in that place. But I picked it up really fast. Like in 1 year, I was able to handle large scale systems in just 1 year. Not just basic software engineering, but I developed dormant website in like 1 month. Single handedly, and then handled backend systems, front end system, DevOps, so much. And in 1 year, I was king of in and out of the dormant technology and the systems, there. So uh, it was, yeah, I mean, like I told you, once you like something, then, because when I was working in dormant also, right, as an engineer, uh, uh, I remember I used to work like at 3 a.m. I'm still coding and I'm learning. Uh, Again, like I had nothing else to do. The only thing that I did through the entire day, no party, nothing else, just do coding, just learn technology, just work on the systems, just improve the systems, just learn the systems, That's what I did entire day. you know uh, have food, go to office, do this, come back, have food, and do this, sleep while doing it. So that's what I did.
Mm.
And
Okay.
yeah, that gave me a huge push. That gave me a huge
Mm.
push. Yeah.
And then why did you move on? I think from Dormant you joined Hola Chef. Hola Chef.
Yeah, Dormant was going through some tough times, and
Okay.
there were financial challenges, and then that's the reason I switched to Hola Chef. Uh, Hola Chef was a food delivery company, food services company, and also a cloud kitchen company. You know, so it had a delivery business as well as a cloud kitchen business. So of course, it had customers who were wanting, like, who used to order food from holachef.com and its app and all of it. And then there was a supply, like delivery boy network of all of that. So I was responsible for managing and growing the entire engineering. Initially, when I joined, Hola Chef has outsourced its entire technology, which was very costly. My job was to bring it in house and to establish a team, set up a team from scratch, hire the first person, grow the team, and learn the systems from outside, from the contractors, and bring them in house, set up internal engineering processes so that everything can be managed in house. And that's what I did. It took 8 months, 7, 8 months time frame for me to do it. And yeah, then I was free from Hola Chef as well. I mean, then that project was over, and then I resigned from Hola Chef, actually, because then it was business as usual, right? So, and then I resigned, and yeah, and then I resigned, and then I waited for a couple of months before starting CoinDCX.
Okay. Did you resign with the idea of CoinDCX in mind, or after resigning you searched for that what next, and then you discovered? Like, how did you discover
I
crypto?
was in crypto. I was interested in crypto since few months or 1 year, before I resigned. But it's not that I had fixed what I have to do. But I resigned from a view that, okay, I've learned the technology, and I have all of this I've learned, and I've worked, and I was fairly comfortable that I will not uh, be out of money, and I will not die out with hunger. Like, I was confident, and that's when I thought I should just leave and more, do something crazier, you know, and
Okay. Okay.
something which is more scale. I mean, higher scale, something bigger, and which can contribute, also contribute to the country. I had this thing of, like, uh, I'm a patriotic person, and I think about the country a lot of times, almost on a daily basis. I think, what can we do, to uh, I don't know if you know these stats. Like, Goldman Sachs had predicted that by 2075, India will, China will be leading in terms of GDP. Around 60 trillion dollars will be Chinese GDP, and Indian GDP will be between 50 and 55 is the second, and just below that will be US. Again in the same range, at the third place. So China, India, and US. My life's mission is to change that and make India the first rather than the
Wow.
second.
Inspiring. Amazing.
So,
Mm. Mm.
and it has I built this over time. You know, if you think from that perspective, you have to do some, and in a longer time horizon. China invested in technology manufacturing way back in 1970s, and they are reaping its benefits now. It takes 30 to 50 years, right? It's not like you do something today and you see the results at this scale. So if we want to change that equation in 2075, and I'll be 80 years old, so that's fine. I mean, if I live long enough, then by then I will be 80 years old, and that's fine, right? So that's a good enough goal. If we want to change that equation, You have to do things now, like now. So I want it,
So
and
how does the
I also have this belief
how
that,
does like how does crypto tie into this? You I understand your the vision which is driving you, but how does crypto tie into that?
yeah, yeah. So I also believe that technology is the growth. This kind of a growth will come with technologies, building technologies which foundationally, which eventually will lead to higher GDPs and higher throughput, higher outputs. You invest in foundational technologies. That is the most important thing. Not just one, multiple. I mean, we are also setting up chip manufacturing, for example. That's a foundational technology, for for establishing a good computing base, good industry, in the country, and for establishing a good electronics manufacturing, basically. So all these things, you know investment in foundational technology is the key, is the most important thing. And it if you see, in 2016, 17, I thought, what is that foundational technology which needs investment today? An investment which I have the capability to do, and an investment which can make a meaningful difference in 30 to 50 years to the country. What is that? So I searched a couple of industries, right? AI was also there back then, but AI was very capital intensive, and like I told you, I just came out of hunger, you know so that was something which far-fetched for me. So AI was out of question. Manufacturing, I've always believed in manufacturing. you know if we want to improve our nation's output, then manufacturing, because right now we are selling software and buying hardware as a country. So I think we need to sell software but also sell hardware, not just software. So manufacturing is key, but that is also capital intensive, and I was not ready for it. Maybe I am right now, but at that point in time I was not. So software was clear cut, and in within software we already had TCS, Infosys, and we had good, as a servicing industry, we had all of that established. Like, why to repeat all of that? So, and blockchain I was studying from since a long, and I thought that, I had believed that blockchain technology is going to form the new backbone of the internet. I mean, it is going to be a major technology powering the internet, throughout the world. And we need to excel at this technology. We need to grab this technology, and excel at it, make it mainstream in India, and lead from that. Because, and it will not have an impact in like 5 years or 6 years, but it will be in decades down the line. Uh, it is like 1990s of internet. Blockchain technology in current state is exactly at the same state as internet was in 1998, 1995, in that era. And that is where you need to invest. This is the time frame where you need to invest your time and energy, to make it happen. So yeah, I mean, I got that sense, and that's why I jumped into it.
Okay. Um, Let me quickly ask you a bit on blockchain before continuing with your story. Uh, so when you say blockchain will be the backbone of internet, so you're talking in terms of transactions, like, so for example, a lot of transactions could be run on blockchain, be it
Oh yes.
exchange of currency or uh, ownership records. So
Yes,
that
yes.
is what you mean.
Precisely, precisely. Today, internet is used for information more. I mean, all 100% internet is used for information, actually, right? When, even if you're transacting, you are sending an information to your bank that I want to transact, and the bank is transacting on your behalf, right? You are just sending an encrypted and authorized information to your bank. So internet is primarily used for information today. That's the 99.9% use case of internet. Even though we are able to perform these transactions, but these are not natively happening on the internet. Right? These are happening off internet, and internet is just a messenger, in between. Uh, it is fine. It's a first step. I think all the transactions that we do today will come on blockchain, because blockchain is a way to do transactions natively on the internet, and that's very huge. That makes transactions very, very efficient, secure, programmable. Think of it like this: UPI is good, is good, is really good. It's the fastest transaction platform, in the world, uh, facilitating all these transactions. But UPI is not programmable. Simple use case. I'll give you one example. Basic use case is just one of thousands of use cases. Suppose I am using some internet services on a pay per use model, right? That this pay per use model simply is not possible with banking infrastructure. It can only be done with a pay per use. Like, you use basis your number of minutes used, at that granular level, not at a monthly level. But streaming videos you watched for 2 minutes, you just pay for 2 minutes. Don't pay for entire month. Netflix, some people just watch Netflix, uh, for like 1 hour and pay for entire month. Those people can pay for one hour also. That should be possible, at least possible. I'm not saying that this is a good business case. I'm just saying that this is the new technological enablement that you get, and you can build applications on top of these things. This is just one of the things I'm mentioning. There are hundreds of more programmability, I will say, enablement. So programmable transactions allow you to do so much, beyond simple send and receive. So I think that is the future. Loan, just imagine loan. uh, Now, I have my assets in the offline world. A company giving me a loan, they don't have any understanding of all those assets. I am eligible for handsome amount of loan, but it's just not. I mean, that information is simply not available. When assets come on the blockchain, all these assets that I own, when these come on the blockchain, then the it can it will completely disrupt the lending and borrowing industry, and that's going to happen. I have these jeans and I have this t-shirt. you know just imagine, I mean, this t-shirt is a Gucci t-shirt. It is not, but just imagine it's a Gucci t-shirt, right? I instantly become eligible for a loan if this record is there, online. So what I'm trying to say is, when all the assets also come on the blockchain, then transactions are also happening on the blockchain. You won't even imagine the kind of world that will exist. It is similar to
Mm.
how people in 1970s could not have imagined, paying online, and could not have imagined this current payment systems, or current internet systems. Similarly, it's very difficult to imagine that kind of a world, when everything, all the transactions happen on chain, on the blockchains. It's a very powerful thing, and it will change. And I think a country excelling at this will have a natural advantage. You know, if you increase India's GDP by just 0.1% because of massively efficient transactions, over the next 50 years, just imagine the change it will make. And
Yeah,
that's what will
compounding
happen.
impact.
That's what will happen. It will have a compounding impact. And I think India is a large economy, and bringing efficiency in the way economy transacts, it's a huge thing, and blockchain is geared to improving and solving that. That's why I'm a firm believer in blockchain.
Okay, okay. So proof of ownership is something which is also called NFT, right? NFT is essentially a mechanism of establishing proof of ownership. Like today, it is proof of ownership of digital goods, but tomorrow NFTs could also be used for, like you said, I have a Gucci T-shirt, or for example, I have a degree from IIT. All of this could be NFTs.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, these NFT is just a It's a technology to represent things which are unique, to represent them online. That's all. I mean, NFT is, right? If I own these AirPods, I own these AirPods, right? If this information is present online and it's available to whoever I share, it will add a lot of value in terms of, you know, the kind of person I am, what I need, what I want, you know, what all my personality and what kind of products I might be looking for, and all of that, right? So this can be represented as NFT, which I own. So, and then, uh, uh, and this is just one example. I mean, right? Everything that I own, I would love to put them online in a privacy protecting manner, of course. Uh, uh, that's and NFTs allow, that's a technology which allows people to hold representation of things online, in a non fungible manner, which means like it cannot be broken up. Like this airports cannot be made into half, right? It's just one single piece of airport. So that's just one, that's the way NFTs work. And it's a very simple technology. Once blockchain is there, once we have excelled at blockchain, NFT is just one of the applications. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, I think one of the challenges right now of doing this is transaction cost and speed. Like as on date, like the speed at which you can do. For example, if I have to pay for a chai to a Panwadi using crypto, it will cost me much more than what the chai would cost, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. To Panwadi, you can pay with UPI.
okay. But you see this getting solved, the transaction cost and speed issues.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, it's already solved. This year it has been solved. I mean, 2024 is the year when we have solved that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. The cost has gone down. I mean, now yeah, in 10 years from today, I mean, by 2035, you should be able to see billions of people using blockchain on a daily basis without even realizing it. It's just happening, and improving their life in one way or another. Yeah. The backend
Okay.
systems
Okay.
of all of these apps that I use are all connected via blockchains. Everything that I'm doing online is represented by NFTs and uh, tokens, right? And using that, my entire web experience and internet experience has been upgraded, because of these technologies that have started playing a role in the back end. So I think 10 years is a good time frame in my estimation. It has already been 1.5 decades, one more decade, and this will transform things. Yeah.
Who will pay for the compute cost and storage cost? If you're doing so much on the blockchain, then it means high compute cost, high storage cost. Who's going to bear that? Is that going to be a, like, per transaction? There'll be some like pennies on the dollar that you will pay.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
see, compute cost and storage cost is there even today with UPI also, right? So, I mean, that's true
which
for any
to the
internet-based application.
like the MDR, the merchant discount rate is one way to recover that cost. So it'll be something similar there. Like,
I think, yeah, end consumers. If you ask me to speculate, end consumers won't pay, but people who are using businesses will end up paying this. Businesses being
okay.
built using these technologies, will end up paying the compute and storage cost together, and consumers won't pay. I think that's how the world will continue to work. It continues to work even today, that way on internet.
Mm.
I don't think every customer being charged. So any platform that charges customer for transactions, customers just don't like that. I've seen this. Customers don't like that,
Mm.
especially on day-to-day platforms, and then some platform will come which don't charge, and then customers will start using that, and they instead charge
Yeah.
the other parties, the businesses, right? I mean, I think that's a fundamental principle that will continue to hold. So it will continue to be free for customers. That's what I
Mm.
know.
Okay.
It will be free, yeah.
Okay. Mm. Okay, so coming back to your journey, so you thought that the way in which you can help India reach that number one position in 75 years is by building something in crypto. Uh, what next? How did you meet Sumit? How did the two of you start CoinDCX? Tell me about that journey.
So Sumit and I met in Kota when I was searching for a PG. I went to this small house, and I took a room. I rented a room there, in when I was preparing for IIT JEE 11th class, 12th class, and there Sumit was used to live already. So that's where we met. That's a long story, long, and we have been together since. I mean, as friends. He went to Sony Japan. I was preparing for UPSC. So we kind of went into different paths, and then he was also exploring crypto in 2016-17, just like me, and he had good exposure to crypto as well. And me, and I remember one day we were chatting on Google Chat. That Gmail chat used to be there earlier. It was not WhatsApp. We were chatting on Gmail chat, and hey bro, what's up, and all of that. What are you doing? क्या कर रहा है भाई आजकल? And crypto blockchain, and I think it was a short conversation. And next day we started the company.
And what was like the idea was to build an exchange? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when you're talking about these transactions and economy, assets, you know, and the exchange is a very fundamental core part of it. You know, so uh, where will these transactions happen? Ultimately, they have to happen on an exchange where there's some liquidity. In India, I mean, of course, exchange plays a very critical role in establishing this industry and establishing this technology, making it mainstream. So it's also a way for people to spend their INR and buy these digital assets. You know, so we started with an exchange, and more importantly, for a startup, exchange is it's a good business, a viable business. It gives you revenue. You know, you cannot hope to sustain for tens and 20 years without a revenue stream.
hmm.
So
Okay. So tell me the journey.
yeah, journey of CoinDCX or
Yes, CoinDCX. Yes, yes, yes. So now the two of you decided you want to start. So from there.
yeah, actually, just the next day we started. Sumit came from Bangalore to Mumbai. I was in Mumbai, and Sumit just came because it was very difficult for me to move. I had my wife. Sumit was unmarried back then, so Sumit just came next day. It was literally the next day, by the way, and we started thinking what to do, how to do, etc. And I was a technologist. Sumit was more on the non-technology side of things, and uh, from my flat in Mumbai, we just started building it up. I started coding, developing, writing it from scratch. You know, and so we started rest of the things, including fundraising in the initial days, as well as uh, 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 brand, etc. All of these things, non-technical. I started building the exchange itself. I started how to interact with the blockchain, how to build application on the blockchains, and how to build a NSE. Like I had this task of building something like NSE, National Stock Exchange, uh, 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 and with the an added integration of blockchain, right? So how to do that? And you are just one person. There is no other person. So that was a very massive problem statement in front of me as well. Sumit had a massive problem statement as well, of starting up in a completely new brand, new thing. No one knows, and blockchain was still very nascent. How to build a business in such a nascent industry where no one knows, what is crypto. I mean, people get scared of Bitcoin. So by just listening its name. So but we did start. I hired a couple of developers, and we started building, and we were uh, we were launching it, in the first week of April in 2018. And we were just about to launch, and things were looking very good. We worked our ass off for 5 6 months, day and night, and we worked really hard day and again. I mean, like I told you, the way I prepared for IIT JE, the way I did picked up worked in dormant, technology. I mean, this is my field. This is what I love. So again, day and night, 15 20 hours. Uh, uh, Started building this up. 6 months, worked hard. Both all of us worked hard, and then when we were about to launch, RBI came up out of nowhere, and I mean, RBI just came up and said that you cannot have bank account. You can run the company, you can do whatever you want, but you cannot have a bank account as a crypto company. Now, without a bank account, how do you run a company? How do you even pay how do you even pay salaries? How do you, you know, that was very challenging, very challenging situation. We had some investors lined up, almost 8 to 10 good set of investors. I mean, we had really good set of angel investors lined up. You know, more than half of them backed out, and we can't blame them. You know, I mean, the central
Yeah,
bank of the
I'm
country.
surprised that only half backed out. I thought it would be 100% back out.
Yeah, there are some great minds and great people, who exist and who are ready to take that risk and who have a long term. I mean, people who were in this industry for short term, they backed out, and that's fine. They will always back out because they have their long term skin in some other industry, but in this industry they are here for, because I mean, monetary gains or some other gains, right? So it makes sense for them to back out and not take that amount of risk. But for kind of investors who are deeper into this, who are day and night living and breathing this, for them it will make sense to just take this risk. So those stayed, and they did, and rest of the people didn't stay, right? And people who stayed, they are with us even today, and thanks to them, we were able to raise this initial funding round. I feel, yeah, but it caused a lot of issues. Yeah, it caused a lot of issues. But
I
the
think there was a 2 year ban, right? This RBI ban lasted for about 2 years.
it lasted for about 2 years, and we didn't have funds. I even had to borrow funds from my father, uh, and in between, I borrowed a couple, I mean, 20 30 lakhs from my father just to pay 1 month salaries, to the employees, because we didn't have, we even our funding, angel funding round, seed funding round was over. Money was over. We didn't have anything in the bank account. uh, and then I borrowed money from my father, uh, returned him back later. I mean, but yeah, so that was very challenging, and we had this option of closing the company. That was easy. Believe me, out of 199 crypto companies, they shut it off. People just shut it off.
Yeah.
We continued. We continued building, and yeah. So we built newer products which didn't require bank accounts. So what if we cannot have bank accounts? We'll build products that don't need bank accounts.
For
That
example.
don't. Yeah, I mean, for example, most of the products were where people buy from INR, crypto from INR. Already, a lot of Indians had crypto. So we built products such that people don't need to deposit INR. They can deposit crypto and use crypto, and they can transact within crypto, and build products for people who already hold crypto. They don't need to bring in newer money, and new INR. So we thought we'll build for them. It's okay. I mean, India will have at least 1,000 crore worth of crypto, right? So from this 1,000 crore, we'll capture the market and we'll build for that. That's fine, because in the long run, this industry is going to be there, irrespective of whether RBI bans it or not, and whatever happens. I mean, Sure, few countries banned internet also, back then.
Yeah. Mm.
That does not mean that internet it's a very powerful force. You cannot, even if you ban it, it won't matter. You have banned it because probably, of course, there are some regulatory issues, right? And we're not able to deal with them, and that's why we have taken that step, and that's fine. We'll probably understand it over time. As a country, we'll develop more skills and understand it better. uh, that was a faith leap of faith, and we just yeah, so that's how we
So
continued.
from till 2020, the ban was lifted. So till 2020, you were not earning any INR. Your earning was just in crypto because you were doing crypto to crypto exchange. So your commission in that would have also been in crypto only.
Yes,
And so, how did you pay salaries? Like,
that
how did
was
you run the
salary
business?
from funding from investments,
Okay.
because by 2020 we had raised series A also, right? So
And how did that happen with this kind of a shadow ban in place? And
like I told you, there are investors who believe in this industry for the long run, and they know it for a fact that countries will oppose, countries will have this problem, but eventually it will all get sorted out as long as you have the
okay.
capital to survive. So you have
Mm.
these kind of people, and these kind of people are responsible for the growth of this industry, right? So I mean, thanks to them, and yeah, so it was not easy, but because we had a functioning product without INR also, right? And we had some revenue, so we were able to raise funds. And at the same time, there was this idea of, if we cannot have a bank account, why not let people transfer their INR from one person to another and just transact amongst themselves, something like that. That was also a peer to peer,
Peer to peer.
idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
its legality was in question, but yeah, so we tried something with that as well. Uh, so we tried everything. We tried this and that. We tried whatever could work, and whatever could make us survive. We also tried expanding internationally, and we did successfully. We onboarded like 2 lakh, 1.5 lakh customers from other markets as well, and it started a revenue stream. Uh, 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 so yeah, it was very challenging, but yeah, we did. So
These
like I
customers
mentioned,
you
it's
were
like, yeah,
the
yeah,
foreign customers were also for the same crypto to crypto product, like no fiat currency.
yes, yes, no fiat currencies.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. And were you part of that court case which was being fought against the ban?
Yeah, so RBI had to lift the ban because Supreme Court ordered it, in 2020, and there were four exchanges part of that a case against the Reserve Bank of India, which these four players collectively won, and CoinDCX was a major part of that as well. Yeah,
Okay.
we really didn't believe, that when the ruling happened. I mean, we were like very happy. We were not able to believe like what happened.
Mm.
And it just we got the bank account, after that, after 2 years, 3 years of struggle. We got the bank account, and it coincided with this massive bull run which happened in 2020-21. And yeah, we acquired 1 crore customers from India in a matter of 9 months.
Wow.
The whole time.
How did you? So you had an exchange. So from running an exchange, you must have had to learn how to acquire customers within India for with the fiat in place and the KYC norms in place and things like that. How did you figure all of that out? And you must have had to learn marketing also. And just tell me about that journey of like how you acquired 1 crore customers. What worked for you, or was it just that there was so much demand and
Yeah, in this industry, most of the acquisition happens when the prices go up, and a lot of it is also organic. Lot of it is organic. You, irres- it depend like irrespective of the money you spend on the marketing. If you're spending in the bear market, nothing will happen. No customers. You won't be able to acquire customers. On the other hand, it's just 10x when it comes to when it's a bull run, and you're able to acquire so many customers much faster. So we spent money. We spent with it TV advertisements, etc. During the bull run, and lot of brand activities, lot of referral program. and also uh, uh, influencers program with influencers and key opinion leaders, KOLs, Instagram accounts, and all of that. So yeah, I mean, it's standard marketing playbook, nothing unusual about it. Uh, but yeah, so that was a period when I think that was a
And
period when we established that CoinDCX is the largest exchange in India and the biggest exchange in India, the most, the best exchange when it comes to the technology as well. Right, that's when we established it in all of this in the market in terms of number of users, in terms of uh, products, everything, and that's the time I think when we clearly set ourselves apart. Yeah.
Hmm. How does a crypto exchange work? And I believe there are like different terminologies here. If you can just explain that, like there is a bookmaking as something in this, and like so just from a like a slightly more technical perspective, how does an exchange work?
See, crypto exchange and running a crypto exchange is a very difficult job because it has so many moving parts, so many moving parts. Most of the typical startups have like 5 departments. We have 25 departments. I mean, we have so many departments with the 25 is a high number. To give you an exact count, we have around 16 to 17 departments, right? Uh, and that's very high number compared to 5, 6, 7. Uh, because cryptocurrency exchange has so many moving parts, so many things. I'll give you a few examples. Uh, Technically speaking, of course, you have an exchange, which is an order book. Uh, Order book is a uh, you know so it's like an exchange NSE. For example, it matches the order on the basis of price time priority matching algorithm. you know uh, which means orders will get preference, which have orders having better price will get preference over others. And then if there are two orders with same price, then the order with which came first will get a preference. So that's a price time priority matching algorithm. We built that in a lower level programming language, which is C++, to give us a throughput of 2 lakh orders per second processing capability, right? So because exchanges are,
Wow.
because you need to be able to support algorithmic trading as well, HFT and high frequency trading. So you cannot build these such applications on Node.js or Python, these kind of languages. You need to use lower level programming languages which are efficient in computations. So we built this on C++. Then there are, of course, so many, in terms of technology, there are so many systems. I mean, we have we have roughly more than 100 microservices. We have 125 to 150 microservices in the backend collectively delivering this mammoth infrastructure and
Give me
thousands of
some
servers.
examples.
Sorry, of the mic. Yeah, I mean, see, there is order book. You need to update order book every second. You need to be updating order book every second, and send all of those updates to your mobile clients, to your web clients. And then some clients are on lower internet connection, so you don't update every second, you update every 5 seconds for them, right? All of these logics. Then there is a trade history, the market trades happening, right? uh, CoinDCX processes 70% of the global trades on its backend, because CoinDCX allows you to access 70% of the global liquidity, you know, uh, uh, from its interfaces. So you can imagine it's billions of trades every day happening, and we process all of that data. We process that data, make sense of build charts from it in the real time, deliver those charts to the clients. Get trades from it in the real time, get prices from it in the real time, deliver all of that to the mobile and web clients and all of that. So it's a very large scale infrastructure. And then you have to process orders. There are incoming orders from APIs, high frequency. You got lakhs of orders every minute. So how do you process them? How do you put risk checks on them? How do you do compliance checks on them? How do you do uh, so those services for them? Then you have infrastructure which is interacting with the blockchains, for processing deposits and withdrawals, and reading all the blockchain transactions globally, right? That's a separate infrastructure in itself, which is again responsible for processing lakhs of transactions every minute, so and and looking at it and seeing if any of our users are also making transactions on blockchain, and then recording them in the system and then reflecting in customer portfolios. So that's and you need to build systems such that you can interact with hundreds of different blockchains out there, not just one blockchain. So how do you build those systems which interact with blockchains, and learn to read, and systems capable of reading and writing on these blockchains, and these are very large scale blockchains, right? So how do you build those are other systems. Then there are systems for, of course, like KYC and compliance checks, all of that. There are systems for them. Then there are fund operations, where because customers have, I mean, CoinDCX, it's public. We have around $450 million in assets, of customers. That is 3,500 crore. How do you secure them? How do you secure 3,500 crore on your backend? So there are systems for that, you know uh, uh, massive systems to secure these, and wallets as well. How do you CoinDCX has a very large security team, almost 25 people in security team. It's a large for a 500 member team. 25 people in security is very large because we hold these assets, right? And so there are so many systems just meant for improving the security posture of the company, right? So yeah, I can go on and on, right? And each
Okay.
of these large scale systems that I mentioned have multiple services inside them to do specific jobs and tasks. So this is the system. Then in terms of departments, we have one of the thick department in the company is also operations. There are a lot of operations, liquidity related operations. You have to run the markets 24/7, right? So you need to have a team which is 24/7, 365 days, and if you need minimum one person for a job for 365 days, 24/7, you need to have 5 employees for that,
Yeah.
because there are holidays, day shift, night shift. But if you want to ensure that at least one person is there for that particular job, 24/7, 365, you need to have 5 people. That's the standard metric, industry metric. So, we have
Okay.
operations team which is able to achieve all of this. Then with so many different operations, compliance operations, we need to scrutinize each and every transaction basis the PMLA guidelines, right? And every incoming and outgoing transactions need to be scrutinized. If there are red flags, then it needs to be done manually by compliance analyst team, right? And so they, there are like 10 sub functions within the operations team. So our operations team is very large, you know. Uh, yeah, so that's another thing. Then of course you need to have a very strong brand and marketing team, because people need to trust. People are holding their life earnings and savings on the platform, right? So just you cannot be low quality when it comes to communications, and when it comes to your brand image. People are holding money, so you need to realize that. So we have a very strong brand and communications team as well, right? And that's a very important part, I would say, right? So yeah, that and our compliance team is very large actually, because it's even more difficult job than a bank, because banking is still regulated and they know what to do. We don't even know what to do, right? Because we don't have guidelines, we don't have clear cut regulations that you need to do ABC. We have to create ABC and then do it. No one tells us to do ABC. So we have large compliance team, and within compliance we have four sub departments. Similarly, within security we have four sub departments, right? So yeah, and then there are, I mean, uh, and then there are different kind of, we have a Web3 team. We have a Web3 team because now one is the exchange part, where customers buy and sell. But now like I told you, within 1 decade, billions of people will be using blockchains, right, without even realizing it. So applications are being built on top of blockchain, right? And eventual goal is that lot of Indian applications should start using blockchain behind the scenes. You know, so you need to build infrastructure that is responsible for making this happen, right? Blockchain is a very difficult technology. We understand it, but all these Indian companies, all these mobile apps in India, they are not going to learn everything that we have learned over the last 6 years. That's a very steep learning curve. So we are building technology, product, processes, SOPs, everything, such that these companies can start using blockchain. Right, that's our Web3 vertical. So that's another large team that we have. The product's name is Octo. Uh, so Octo is a platform which allows any company in India to start using blockchains for their needs in a matter of 1 week. If they do it without Octo, it will take like 6 months for them to just learn everything, allocate 4 or 5 developers. They will learn for 6 months and then deliver something. On the other hand, it just takes 1 week. Just integrate out of the box, and you are able to just use blockchain for everything that you want. You just need one developer. So I think it will cut short the time, and that's very important step that needs to be done. So this is another team which works. Yeah. So and then there are smaller teams as well. Five people, six people. Many of them, right?
Fundamentally, an exchange is where people are coming with some sort of an order. Either I want to sell or I want to buy. And the role of the exchange is to match orders. Someone says, I want to sell Dogecoin and buy Ethereum. Someone says, I want to sell Ethereum and buy Dogecoin. And so the exchange does the matching. What if there is not enough? What if the match doesn't exist? Like one of your customers wants to sell Ethereum and buy Dogecoin, but there's nobody who's selling Dogecoin. Like there's no customer of yours who's selling Dogecoin. What happens then?
That's what we solved. That was a problem which existed in the market when CoinDCX was not there. But when CoinDCX came into picture, like I told you, uh, we allow customers through excess liquidity of 70% liquidity, global liquidity. And so even if there is no seller or buyer on the platform, we have the ability to route those orders wherever there is liquidity.
So, for example, you would be integrated with the Binance, and you can execute
multiple
the order
multiple
on.
liquidity pools multiple liquidity pools. We have also integrated with decentralized finance, for that matter, which is
Oh,
another upcoming market. So not just Binance, decentralized finance, KuCoin, Binance, okay, multiple I mean, wherever we see there is a huge liquidity pool, we just integrate it onto the platform. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah,
Understood. Okay.
that's a power.
Uh, okay. And for a customer who comes to the platform, so does he need to have his own wallet? Because wallet is one of those slightly technical things. Like if you have to set up your own wallet and all that. So how does that happen?
Okay, so we use multiple technologies to make that journey simple, right? People simply just need to know their email and phone number. That's all. I mean, we have solved all of that already. People who want to set up and go via the complex route of seed phrase, and like typically establish setting up a Web3 wallet, it needs you to know this concept of seed phrase. It's a technical concept, seed phrase. And if you're okay to learn all of those concepts, then you have that option as well. But if you just have email, you should be able to explore Web3 and blockchain. So that's what, yeah, I mean, because we believe that mass adoption of this technology is going to happen via email and phone numbers only as identifiers, and not via something else, not via private keys. I don't know if you know what is a private key, but it's like a 32 character string of alphabets and letters, which is the password to your wallet. So generally, people just keep it printed somewhere and keep it written somewhere so that they don't forget it. But that's not how mass adoption will happen. So I mean, we have removed all those complexities long ago. And see, technology is there,
Uh,
but
i-
it will only get adopted
okay.
when we make it simple.
Okay. Is there portability between exchanges? Like say UPI, I can use any app I want to for UPI. I'm not restricted to any one app. Uh, though if I want to use any bank, then there is slightly more friction if I want to, because I have to close a bank account at one place and then transfer money to another account and do an account opening at the other place. So what is the level of portability in crypto?
So portability is coming up in exchanges. It's not there, but in wallets like Octo, right? It's there. So now, Web3 portability is there on blockchains inherently. Blockchains have portability, and much more than by default. By technology itself is built in that way that it's highly portable. Your account is on blockchain. No, it does not matter which client you are using to access that blockchain, right? So you can always make your things port your assets from one application to another, because it's just like your assets are with NSDL and CDSL, so it does not matter which broker you are using, right? Similarly, all your assets are on the blockchain. It does not matter whether you are using which client. So portability fundamentally is there, but in the exchanges it's not there, because exchanges are off blockchains. We do all this matching not on blockchains. But like I mentioned, our Web3 vertical, which is Octo, so all the customers of Octo are part of this portability, because Octo is built on blockchains. I mean, the assets on Octo are directly held on blockchain, right? So it's that system is all portable, and that is the, I mean, maybe I can spend 1 minute in explaining the rationale here, right? So we started as an exchange, but blockchain was only used to receive and send assets. Once you deposit assets on CoinDCX, all those assets are held in a common blockchain account, which is owned by CoinDCX. And all the things happen, then blockchain, you don't need blockchain. Then all the things happen without the use of blockchain, right? Once you deposit assets to CoinDCX. And everything happens on your AWS servers, standard. But this is not going to remain this way. It's going to change, where all the assets will continue to remain on blockchain. Every customer will have a direct account on blockchain, and all the applications will be built on blockchain. So that is what is going to happen, because earlier performing transactions on blockchain was very costly. So just imagine when you are doing exchange, and every transaction is costing like $10. So that was not a good way, right? That's why blockchain was only used to receive and send assets earlier, because there you can pay some price. But exchange, which is a very high lakhs of transactions happening every minute, that used to happen on your general AWS servers. Now, because the cost has gone down, blockchain transaction cost has gone significantly, ridiculously down. Like it is less than a cent now, less than 1 cent. So now all these transactions are happening on blockchain directly. Even the exchange is happening on blockchain directly, from one account to another account directly. And you don't need separate systems for exchange, right? So if you are using applications built on directly these blockchain systems, then your account is portable. And now all the systems will eventually, of course, be replaced by these blockchains directly. So even CoinDCX backend will eventually be replaced by this blockchain directly. So every customer of CoinDCX will have a portable account in the future.
And
I mean,
how soon will this happen, according to you?
we have already built the technology, which is Octo, to facilitate this transition. We're integrating uh, this inside CoinDCX now.
Give me some examples of who's using Octo. So you said you built Octo for developers. Can you help me understand this a little more? Maybe give me an analogy of is this like, say, AWS, or what is it like that? Or is it like a payment gateway? Like a Razorpay enables companies to collect payments. So is this like that, or what is Octo? Like, help me understand.
So it's more like AWS. AWS is a software layer on top of actual hardware computers. So there are like lakhs of computers, lying in data centers, and then there is a software layer to access the computing power and computing and storage power of those computers, right? That's AWS, correct? What Octo is, there is a computing and storage power available with the blockchains, right? To use them, Octo is the software layer on top of that. It's a middleware between that computing and storage power that blockchains offer you. And this is programmable storage, programmable computing, right? It is different kind of computing. It's built for transactions, right? It's built for ownership, etc. So you can use all of that going via Octo, right? It is similar to when in 1990s people used to host their websites on their own machines using and it was complex. But then it came AWS, and you use AWS software to use the raw bare metal servers, right? Similarly, if you were to today directly build on blockchains, it is like building on your own machines and establishing web servers on your own machines. But with Octo, it is like AWS, where you don't need to do that necessary unnecessary hard work, and the same work will be repeated by all the developers. Instead, why not just one company do that same work, and let all the developers not repeat the same unnecessary work, of stitching things together, right? So uh, it's like that. So that is basically Octo, but it's for blockchain technology. Yeah.
Okay, so you built these microservices, which you were giving me examples of, like updating on chain or updating wallet or capturing data or presenting data from the blockchain. So all of these microservices, I assume, have come together and you have made them available to any company now, like the microservices that were built for
Those
CoinDCX.
microservices was just a example that those actually were for CoinDCX product. For Octo, it is very different. Octo is much deeper. Not just reading writing, but also orchestration of transactions, right? For example, there are tens of blockchains in behind the scenes. So a developer need to write on multiple blockchain. They have to write different kinds of codes, because every blockchain is built by different company. There is no standard method of writing data on the blockchain, moving assets from one address to another address, transacting uh, assets on one blockchain, and on another blockchain it's like day and night, very different. So a developer developing an application need to not only learn but implement all these things for different blockchains, again and again. So Octo allows you to just give one command, and then Octo will orchestrate. It does not matter what kind of standards and protocols are being used by different blockchains. You want to do this transaction, don't then rest you don't worry about it. It will happen on the chain. You don't have to worry about it, right? So in future, applications will use multiple things. I mean, multiple blockchains. One application will be using multiple blockchains behind the scenes, and multiple protocols behind the scenes, right? So if you don't have this kind of a middleware layer and you directly build on that, on those, then it's very complex. So Octo orchestrates all of this. So it's much more. I mean, what microservices I described earlier, they are just for running the centralized CoinDCX exchange, right? This is a different beast altogether. I mean, this is much more complex, and it has different kinds of microservices, different kinds of teams, data teams, transaction team, experience team, orchestration team, and it's a different kind of setup altogether. So yeah.
Give me some use cases, examples of orchestration. like you said, orchestration is a complicated problem, which you have simplified. You have abstracted that problem for developers. So, give me some examples of what projects are using Okta for orchestration and how you have simplified the orchestration.
Think of a gaming company, that is using NFTs for storing assets of gamers, right? Now those gamers, now this gaming company is, suppose this is built on Solana blockchain. So these assets are being held on Solana blockchains, right? But imagine these gamers, I as a gamer have my other assets on a different blockchain, on Polygon blockchain, for example. Now, if I were to start using this game, my assets are there on Polygon. How do I, like, I don't, as a customer, I don't care about whether I'm from Polygon and this gaming company is built on Solana, so I have to move these assets, right? I don't. On the other hand, the developers of this gaming company, they don't want to learn Polygon and 10 other chains for that matter to make this happen, to make this customer interact with their game, right? So they just want to just send one command which allows assets of this person, on Polygon to be used for the purpose of their game in whatever function that they have, whatever intent that they have, on the platform. This transaction alone requires like 5 6 transactions, sub transactions. So this, making this happen is a very complex thing, right? So Octo
What
does that
would
out of the box. Yeah.
so if a gaming company has assets on Solana, like say a skin, like I bought a custom skin for a player, um, why would someone come with assets from another blockchain? Like I'm not clear on the problem statement here.
Because you might be skin, right? But you may have some stable coin. Just imagine, you may have
Okay,
some
so you
assets
to
on,
buy
because
the assets, you are
yeah, you're
using
buying
some.
skin, you're buying selling skins, right? Some other game, you're on some other game and you won, right? And you sold your skin there in that game, and now you have some assets on your wallet. Now you won't want to use those same assets, right? Now you don't care whether the other game is a Solana, and it's not that you cannot play games which are on Solana because you are from Polygon ecosystem. That's not how it will work, correct?
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Now
Okay.
think of
Understood.
game
Understood.
developers. They cannot make this happen. It's very complex. It's very very complex to just make this transaction happen. And this is one basics, the most simplest use case. There are use cases where one click of user will entail performing 10 transactions behind the scene. It gets a lot, because imagine there is also identity involved. Now identity is on third chain, because it's not that typically identity will have like one chain or two or three chains will serve the entire globe, in the when it comes to identity, something like that. Now identity is on a different chain altogether, and the company and the application has to perform some actions basis the identity of the person, right? So now they have to integrate and learn another chain and all those protocols of that chain to integrate identity. So it's very it just it as the complexity grows, it becomes a nightmare.
Okay.
Suppose
Okay.
there is a very large company and they have so much throughput that not the single blockchain cannot handle their throughputs, right? And they want to build their application on 5 different blockchains just to load balance. That's another example where something like orchestration and chain app like Octo comes into picture. We are seeing this. Yeah, Octo has a massive pipeline of
Oh,
developers and companies they want to integrate, and frankly, we are not able to just keep up with that pace of customer demand.
and this is domestic or international
Domestic.
customer demand?
Domestic.
How do you monetize Octo?
Right now, we are not. Later on, we'll charge on transactions.
Like number of API calls or something like
Oh
that?
no, no, transactions on chain.
Okay, number of on-chain transactions, like the number of times you're writing
Take
on
it
chain
10 to
based on that.
take it 20% cut. Take it 20% cut off the transaction fees.
You spoke of identity on blockchain. What does that mean? Identity on blockchain.
Identity means my entire data, right? Like the identity of tomorrow, 20, 30 years down the line, identity will not be Aadhaar card and PAN card. Identity will be what I do, what degrees I have, what I own, what do I buy, all of that data on the blockchain, hundreds of line items as forming my identity, having digital presence, but under my control. Not that it's visible to everyone, but I can give this data to anyone that I want, as a person. So that is what I say by identity, and basis this, you know, uh, 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 a company should be able to serve me much 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 better, with all that data, if I am willing to give my data and share data, for some application, for some benefit, etc., right? So I think that's what I mean by identity. Now identity becomes programmable here as soon as it comes on blockchain. That's an asset. Identity is
Okay.
also an asset,
Okay.
right? It's a digital asset.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Identity means
Okay.
what
Okay.
games I play.
Understood. Okay. Let me just wrap up by understanding the business of CoinDCX a little more. So, is CoinDCX a profitable business? Do you make profit after tax today, or what? What? And so, and I'm assuming your revenue is like a margin on every transaction, some margin you would keep.
Yeah, I mean, we make money, right? But in bear market, it's a different situation. In bull market, it's a different situation. So typically in bear market, you don't make as much money. In bull markets, you make as much money, and then both kind of equalize over long run. But yeah, so that's how it works. I cannot give you more exact details of the profitability, etc. But just to give you relative things, bull markets are where you make money, and bear market is where you lose money, and we've seen that happening across. I mean, you can look at Coinbase numbers; those are public. Coinbase is a publicly listed company, so they lose money in bear market and they make money in bull market.
Okay. Okay. And I think you've raised about 250 million roughly till date, right?
Yeah,
With the most recent Series D happened in 22. So, do you intend to raise more capital, or like are you capitalized enough and you have enough of a runway and no need for
we
further
have enough runway.
fundraise?
We
Or
have enough runway. We are not planning anything as of now, but uh, things change very fast in this industry, right? So you don't know, but as of now, it's not on our priority to raise funds. I
okay.
mean, this is not, yeah, on our priority to raise fund at this moment, not at all.
Hmm.
And
Tell
right
me
now, we
about.
are focusing on building more foundational business so that we can survive for like forever and make that impact.
Okay. In the long term, do you see the exchange as the primary driver of revenue, or the orchestration services like the Octo business as the primary, or which will
I think
contribute more
exchange is
revenue?
a business. Exchange is a business, and orchestration layer is a service. I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say because even exchange will shift on the orchestration layer eventually. That's what I mean. Even the exchange will start operating on the blockchain via the orchestration layer eventually, speaking, eventually down the line. So it's hard to
Like
say
a Uniswap.
because, yeah, like that. And Uniswap is a exchange which is accessible via Octo orchestration, you know. So it's hard to say what will the revenue split, and because ultimately exchange will work via this layer that we have built internally, and it depends on the kind of business model we are able to build with the external people who are starting to use this our Octo platform, and what will be the revenue model there. It's going to have more number of users for sure, you know the orchestration layer. It will have 50 million to 100 million users in next few years, while exchange will have lesser number of users, so but I mean, so it's hard to say, frankly, but the revenue split.
What is the revenue impact of the exchange moving on to the blockchain? Like if it becomes a decentralized exchange like a Uniswap,
Not much
what is the
actually, not
revenue
much
impact?
because not much because exchange charges customers not on the basis of the cost, but on the basis of what customers are willing to pay. You know, that's the exchange business everywhere across the globe. So when exchange moves on decentralized finance, basically, DeFi, uh, uh, the costs go low. Ultimately, only then it will make sense for an exchange to shift to a decentralized finance via orchestration, via Octo, and via Web3, right? Uh, uh, Shift its backend on blockchain, basically. Exchange shifting its backend on blockchain. That will happen when there is a cost advantage of shifting, of making the shift happen. And few years down the line it will be so, but I think overall net revenue should increase. Only then such infrastructure decisions are taken, right? So net revenue should increase because keeping the customer uh, uh, take rates same, if your cost is coming down then your revenue will increase. But in the long run there is also going to be more competition, so that can impact how much you can charge to the customers. So yeah.
Okay, like you said, eventually nobody likes to pay a take rate, so that kind of okay.
Yeah, so
Uh,
price, yeah, charges are going to come down with time.
hmm. How is your take rate calculated? Like, is it so? Suppose I'm buying 100 rupees worth of cryptocurrency. So, do you charge me 101 or do you give me 99 rupees worth of cryptocurrency? How does that get calculated?
It's different for different kind of products actually. Both happen, you know. Sometimes we charge extra and sometimes we deduct it from uh, and it also depends on order types as well sometimes. So uh, it's different for different products. It's not the same concept always, because sometimes you're simply not able to do it, you know, charge extra. Sometimes you have the margin to charge extra, and so many factors are dependent, so it's not like one same thing. Yeah, especially when there is a sell order, then it's difficult to charge extra from some other, you know, suppose you have bitcoin, 1 lakh rupees worth of bitcoin, and you don't have any other balance, you know, then the only way for you to charge is to deduct some bitcoin or deduct some money when you receive the sell amount, you know, from uh, the entire bitcoin sold, right? So I mean, it's sometimes possible and sometimes it's not possible. And in a buy order it's
Okay.
different. In a buy order you have 100 rupees and you can place order for 99 and charge extra one separately.
Okay. 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 You said different products have different. So, what all products are there besides the exchange?
Yeah, we have spot markets, futures market, right? Different markets are there. Then we have lending and I mean earn. People can earn passive. Suppose you are holding Bitcoin, then you can earn 2, 3%, 4%, up to 10% also, depending on what you are holding. Passive yield and passive income, staking. You know, you can take participation in securing blockchains via this staking mechanisms, and not going deeper into that. But if you're holding Ethereum, then you can earn 4% on that. You know, yield, Beta. So that product, and then Octo, of course, we have, right. Then we have margin trading, lending, borrowing. Multiple products are there. I mean, entire financial ecosystem, basically. Yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
what sets us,
Okay. Okay.
that's what sets us apart from other players. Also, most of the other players have just one
Hmm.
product, you know, which is spot buying and selling. CoinDCX is like 10 products.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Is there also like a passive investment product, like you have SIP, the SIP product in typical mutual fund kind of a format?
Yeah, yeah. Like I told you, there is passive earned product where you can just load your money and keep it,
Ah,
and it gives you returns. But
okay.
on crypto, not
For
on INR.
staking.
Yeah, yeah, for staking. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
staking product,
Okay.
not on INR though. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let me end with this. Do you have any advice for future crypto founders? The young people who are listening to this show.
Yeah, I think exchange people should not start exchanges, etc. It's a saturated space, right? That will be a mistake. Uh, but rather focus on building applications and customer applications and consumer applications built on blockchain. That's the new wave, you know, and that's what needs to be done also, you know. So that will be the only advice. Use blockchains to build amazing customer experiences, build better applications, mobile applications, you know, which are powered by blockchain. I think that's a huge there's a huge advantage there. So that will be the only.
Any specific ideas that are that you think are good ideas to build on, like in terms of improving customer experience through blockchain?
Oh yes, yes. So there are multiple ideas. I mean, if you are building any social application, any gaming applications, right? If you are building any applications, one of the bigger idea is also identity. I mean, that's still not solved yet, right? You have to identity is still complex. Not KYC, not your typical, uh, but also, yeah, capturing the entire digital footprint and presenting that, you know, and putting that in the customer's custody, you know, not somewhere online but customer's custody, and allowing the customer to share that with the companies, you know, such that uh, these companies can then give better experiences to the customers, because now they have now basis the customer's permission, they have finer and minor details of what the customer is, you know, and they can give better experience. This is one idea, for example, just on the top of my head. Yeah.
Hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Neeraj.
Okay, thank you so much, Akshay.